This program is presented by the Fromm Institute for Lifelong Learning at the University of San Francisco. The Fromm Institute, keeping up with the times, no matter when.
Puccini, please, is the title of the class. I call him the world's most popular opera composer. I'm not arguing that he's the best. I'm just saying that in surveys of the operas that are being produced worldwide, but especially in America, Puccini operas are always at the top in terms of the number of performances they get per year. So that'll be something worthwhile. Yes, ma'am. Oh, well, I would have to vote for Mozart. I have taught about Mozart here a couple times. So maybe that'll be in the future as well. Maybe we're not going to get the 10 o'clock chimes, so I'll assume that we're not, and we'll press ahead. Oh, I was talking while they were going, so I didn't hear them. Okay, great. Thank you, and welcome back. This is our last time together in this particular subject matter of Opera for Last. And as you probably know, I kind of got behind schedule. And I was planning to do 19th century last week and then 20th and 21st century this week. We're going to do all that in one because I was spending so much time on other topics, particularly things like Figaro and French opera and Gilbert and Sullivan and so forth. And we talked last week, as you know, about Gilbert and Sullivan, so that took care of British operetta. But what about Viennese operetta? We've already done French operetta with Offenbach, as you remember. And maybe even a mention of American operetta. So let's plunge into that before we get further into the repertoire of the 20th century and our own time. And I'm going to talk about Viennese operetta first with Fledermaus by Johann Strauss Jr., the most popular of his many, many operettas. He was called the Waltz King in Vienna. And so this is a little scene that I think is really quite enjoyable in this opera. So tonight, Eisenstein is supposed to begin his 8-day jail sentence for striking a policeman. His friend Falca persuades him to delay the sentence until morning so that the two men can go to the lavish ball at Prince Orlovsky's, where there will be lots of pretty girls. Meanwhile, scheming, Falca tells Eisenstein's wife Rosalinda that if she comes to the ball in disguise, she'll be able to observe her husband flirting with other women. Her maid Adele also plans to go in disguise to Orlovsky's ball, secretly borrowing one of her mistress's dresses. So in their trio, Rosalinda joins Adele in falsely bittersweet farewell as her husband supposedly heads off to prison, and all three can barely conceal their glee at the delights ahead amidst their pretended grief. So this is one of these situations where the text is funny, but also the musical context is funny as well. They're pretending to be so upset and so mournful about having to say goodbye and him going off to jail, but they just really can barely contain themselves. They're so eager for the evening ahead. This is sung in English, although you may not catch every word, but it starts out, "Oh no, that moves me so." All right, just a little hint of Fledermaus there, lots of fun. I've had often conversations with conductors who, in a concert, want to include the overture to Fledermaus, and I will sometimes discourage that because it's a lot harder than it might seem to get it right. Besides the famous waltz, and getting that timing right, there's this, which occurs in the overture, and how do you time that right? Dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba, 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 ba. It's harder than it looks. Unless you're the Vienna Philharmonic who can play it in their sleep. And I wouldn't discourage that. All right, let's look at another Viennese operetta. This is Franz Lehár, Hungarian by origin. And his best-known operettas out of the many, many are The Merry Widow, The Land of Smiles, and Giuditta. And here's a little bit. It's called Vibe, 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 Women, Women, Women from The Merry Widow, from Zurich, with the American baritone Rod Gilfrey as Danilo, who has wonderful German, as you'll see in this excerpt.
Negus Bruderherz, was hältst du eigentlich vom weiblichen Geschlecht?
Naja, von einem Geschlecht, das schwer zu halten ist. Ich schwer was zu halten.
Also, was macht man, wenn eine Ehefrau den Ehestand ein bisschen durcheinander bringt?
Naja, darüber muss ich, Gott sei Dank, nicht nachdenken.
All right, that's the setup, and here's the actual song.
Ja, das Studium der Weiber ist schwer. Ach, die Weiber, diese Weiber, verteufelt noch mehr. Die Weiber, diese Weiber, an sie und Leid. Das Weib, 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 Weib. Mädchen zart, Mädchen hat blondes Haar. Die Weiber, diese Weiber, ist ein blauer Gewand. Die Weiber, diese Weiber, der Rot von einem Land sind gewöhnt, sich egal, was wir noch
All right, and I thought I had another version of that. Let me see if I do here. Yes, here's another version, and I should play for you. I have to unhide that slide, though, so you can see it. A little more of women, women, women. Between the sexes. Oh, there's an encore. I forgot here. I think this is all typically encored, and I think they do in this video. Okay, I think that's the last time. All right, so that's Viennese operetta. What about American operetta? Victor Herbert is the big representative of that. Actually, born in the Channel Islands, which on the island of Guernsey, which is sort of independent. He always thought he was born in Ireland, in Dublin. I read, and his mother only told him much later that no, he was actually born in Guernsey. Among his 43 operettas, the best known are Babes in Toyland and Naughty Marietta. He also wrote a couple of operas there. And here's a fun fact about Naughty Marietta, which we're going to look at here. It was conducted in Syracuse in its world premiere and on Broadway by Gaetano Merola, the founder of San Francisco Opera. So there's a nice little connection there. All right, here's a little bit from Naughty Marietta. The plot basically is that Marietta is she's going under this name. She's a French princess who's being sent by her family to Louisiana because they think she's too flighty, and she needs to learn a lesson. And she's being guarded by Captain Warrington, but she doesn't want to get romantically involved with him. So in this situation, Marietta is trying to ward off Captain Warrington's attentions, and a group of gypsies stroll by advertising their marionette theater. Warrington joins in as a gypsy girl sings the Italian street song. Stung by his remark that she might not be able to sing as well as the gypsy, Marietta joins in too. So here we have Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald, that famous pair. All right, a little bit of the Italian street song. All right, we're getting out of operetta now, going into Falstaff by Verdi, the last of his operas and his only successful comedy. He wrote a comedy early on in his career called Un giorno di regno, King for a Day, which was a big flop. It's kind of in the style of Donizetti, very similar musically to The Elixir of Love, actually, which is coming up soon here at San Francisco Opera. And I think Falstaff is a super masterpiece, and I just want to share with you a couple of fun bits from it. It is based on a sort of a composite of material from The Merry Wives of Windsor of Shakespeare and Henry IV Parts 1 and 2. There's the original Falstaff back in 1894. These are the Falstaff plays of Shakespeare that involve Falstaff. In Henry V, he doesn't appear, but we hear about his death. And then after all that, we get The Merry Wives of Windsor, which supposedly the story goes, who knows, that this was a royal request that Queen Elizabeth told Shakespeare that she would love to see Sir John in love. It's a good story, whether it's true or not. So here's a quick synopsis of the opera. The fat old knight Falstaff seeks to seduce two well-off married women in order to finagle some money from them and have a little fun. He writes wooing letters to Alice, that's Mistress Ford, and Meg, Mistress Page. They are both shocked that the rotund old lecher would expect them to swoon, and amused that they have both received the exact same letter. Seeking to punish Falstaff, they plan to make a fool of him, letting him think for a while that they have accepted his advances. And here's this really fun scene from this Metropolitan Opera production. They recently redid it. This scene would normally take place in an Elizabethan tavern, but here it's looks like it's kind of like maybe the 1920s or 30s, and it's a gentleman's club. So Mistress Quickly, she's the go-between, she helps set up a trap for the lusty Falstaff by arranging a supposed assignation with Mistress Ford. This is Stephanie Blythe and Ambrogio Maestri. So here is the scene of Quickly and Falstaff. Get out, it says.
Madonna Alice Ford.
Ebbene.
Ahimè, povera donna, siete un gran seduttore.
Lo so, continua.
Alice sta in grande abitazione d'amor per voi. Vi dice che per la vostra lettera che vi ringrazia e che suo marito esce sempre dalle 2 alle 3.
Dalle 2 alle 3.
Vostra grazia quell'ora potrà liberamente salire di luna la bella dice povera donna le angosce sue son crudeli a un marito geloso
dalle 2 alle 3 le dirai che impaziente aspetto quell'ora al mio dover non mancherò
ben detto ma c'è un'altra ambasciata per vostra grazia la bella Meg un angelo che innamora guardando anch'essa gli saluta molto amorosamente dice che suo marito è assai di rado assente povera donna un giglio di cantare di voi ne stregate tu
stregoneria non c'è ma un certo quale mio fascino personale dimmi l'altra sa di quest'are
Oimo, la donna nasce scaltra, non temete,
or ti vorrei volerare
chi semina grazie raccoglierà.
anche Mercurio femmina saluto alle 2 dame
Inchino.
Alice mia
Verdi was almost 90 when he wrote this, and he certainly had a lot of humor in him at that point in his career. I think he felt probably he had nothing to prove anymore. He could just do what he wants. The musical language, as you probably could tell, is quite different from some of his earlier operas. It's a little more fragmented. It kind of flits around. There's lots of trilling and buzzing and little playful figures. That phrase, "Dale due la tre," "Dale due la tre," from 2 to 3, we hear that echoed in the orchestra. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Great fun. Another little fun moment is based on a tiny little passage from Henry IV, Part 1 of Shakespeare. This is, as you probably know, this is Prince Hal, who's going to be the future King Henry V, palling around with this old fat knight and getting into all sorts of troubles and scrapes and so forth. So when they meet up, Prince Hal says, "Here comes lean Jack, here comes bare bone. How now, my sweet creature of bombast? How long is't ago, Jack, that thou sawest thine own knee?" "Mine own knee? When I was about thy years, Hal. I was not an eagle's talon in the waist. I could have crept into any alderman's thumb ring." So this is Falstaff referring to what a slim thing he was in his youth. And the librettist here, Arrigo Boito, made this into a quick little aria. This is in the scene where Falstaff is wooing Mistress Ford. She's setting him up for a trap. He's going to get caught when the men come home, and he ends up, you know the story, he ends up hiding in the laundry basket and getting thrown in the river and all that. Anyway, here is this little scene from Henry IV. turns into the page aria in Falstaff.
Sirena, fuori noi siamo e non teniamo agguato.
E ben,
Io vamo,
voi siete nel peccato.
sempre l'amor l'occasione azzecca. Chi segue vocazione non pecca. Oh, e non è mia colpa.
Se tanto vedi vulnerabil colpa.
And here's the start of the page aria. It goes by in less than a minute.
Ero paggio del duca di Norfolk, ero sottile, 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 ero un miraggio vago, leggero, gentile, gentile, gentile. Quell'era il tempo del mio verde aprile, quell'era il tempo del mio lieto maggio, tanto ero spezzo, flessibile e snello, che sarei pezzato attraverso un anello. Quando ero paggio, ero sottile, ero un miraggio vago, leggero, gentile, gentile, gentile.
That's it. That's the page aria. Comes and goes. Just taking that little tiny idea from the Henry IV play and making it into this aria. All right, one more fun scene from Falstaff. As I mentioned, he gets thrown in the river, heading in the laundry basket to escape the jealous husband. And at the beginning of the next act, then he climbs up out of the river. He's all wet, and he's in a terrible mood. And Verdi gives us such a quick depiction of this, and so vivid in his music, the sort of bad humor, which is eventually ameliorated by a glass of hot wine. So here we go with Falstaff coming up out of the river, all wet. Listen to those trombones there in the bass down there. They're giving us the depiction of the mood Falstaff is in.
Si fa coi gatti e cattellini ciechi, che se non galleggiava per me queste parrocchie, certo affogavo.
Trombones again.
c'è più virtù.
Look who's talking. Now he starts a little self-pitying kind of tune, a little march, which is taken from Shakespeare. Va, vecchio John, go, old Jack, go thy ways. Now I want you to pay attention to how skillfully Verdi, with his music, shows how Falstaff's mood improves so much after he's got a little bit of hot wine in his gut. The orchestra will now really show us the effects of the wine, how it's really beginning to twinkle and sizzle and twirl and make him feel good.
Il buon vino sperde le tetre fole dello sconforto, accende l'occhio e il pensier, dal labbro sole al cervel, e qui vi risveglia il piccol fabbro dei trilli, un negro grillo che vibra entro l'ombrillo, trillo ogni fibra in cor, allegro etere, alti guizza, e il giocondo globo squilibra un'evenza trillante, e il brillo in
La bella dice
al diavolo te con Alice.
All right. So quickly comes back with yet another scheme to lure him into a trap, which he falls for, again, of course. All right, so that's Falstaff. Now, we're going to talk about Puccini, speaking of Puccini, and the Dante-Puccini connection. We were celebrating this past year the 500th anniversary of Dante's death, I think it was. Anyway, there was a lot of attention to Dante this past year. And the connection between the two is Gianni Schicchi, Puccini's comic opera, his only comic opera. And it's based on an episode from Dante's Inferno, Canto 30. And this is a little graphic depiction of the circles of hell in Dante's Inferno, the 8th circle of hell, which is the realm of fraud. And it's interesting here, if you can see, I don't know if you can read all these: limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, anger, heresy, violence, fraud. And right down at the bottom is treachery. And lust is near the top, so sometimes I don't feel so bad. At least I'm not accused of some of these other things down here. And so Dante tells of sinners who are condemned to tear at each other with their teeth, the falsifiers of other people's persons. That is, people who have impersonated someone else with criminal intent. They're in this 8th circle of hell for the people who have committed fraud. And Gianni Schicchi is part of this triptych, 3 short operas meant to be performed in the same evening. Premiered in 1918, Il Tabarro, The Cloak, which is a sort of slasher, violent, jealousy thing. Sister Angelica, which is a sort of a weepy tragedy about nuns. And then Gianni Schicchi, which is a funny comedy. It premiered at the Met in 1918, but Puccini was not able to go because the armistice had just been signed and the Atlantic was still too full of mines. It wasn't safe to cross the ocean. The librettist was Gioacchino Forzano, and he added a love story because this is a comedy. And so here's a quick synopsis. The Florentine Buoso Donati has died, leaving his considerable estate to a monastery. His greedy relatives, deeply shocked, reluctantly accept young Ranuccio Donati's advice and ask the help of Gianni Schicchi, a well-known local rogue whose daughter, Lauretta, is Ranuccio's sweetheart. Buoso's body is removed, and Schicchi takes his place in bed, impersonating him so well that even his doctor is fooled. The delighted relatives call in a notary so that Donati can dictate a new will. To their outrage, Schicchi wills much of Buoso's wealth to himself, but they dare not speak up because, as Schicchi had pointedly reminded them before agreeing to this scheme, banishment plus losing a hand awaits anyone who participates in falsifying a will. So when the notary departs, Schicchi chases them all out of his newly acquired house, except for his future son-in-law Ranuccio and the lad's bride-to-be, Schicchi's daughter, Lauretta. So this is all very loosely based on this brief mention in Dante's Inferno about Schicchi, who went to hell for impersonating Buoso Donati to falsify his will. And all these details have been added by others, including Puccini's librettist. All right, so here is a scene. This is actually a production directed by Woody Allen. Buoso's relatives reading the will and finding out that all his money is going to the monks. If you know Puccini, you know that he has little signature tunes, little sort of melodic ideas, and what we were hearing there was the theme of the will. Da dee dee da dee da dee da dum dum dum. That's the tune of the will. All right, now this is probably the most famous Puccini aria there is, and it isn't what you think it's about. It isn't about what you think it's about. So Schicchi is offended by the Donati family's disdain for him as a plebeian and an outsider. That is, he's from the countryside, not from Florence. And he refuses to help them with the will. You'll hear him saying, niente, niente, nothing, nothing, I'll do nothing for you. Until his daughter Lauretta pleads her case. So here is the famous O mio babbino caro.
Niente, niente.
O mio babbino caro, mi piace
see young Ranuccio comes forward and slips Loretta the will to get Schicchi to take a look at it. So yeah, you didn't think that this is what this aria was about, did you? You hear it all the time on radio commercials, TV commercials, in movie soundtracks and so forth. Did you have a question? Yeah.
How did Woody Allen get mixed up in the opera?
Well, he has directed, as far as I know, a few operas, not many. This is the only one I know for sure that he's directed, but I think there have been some others. And I think he dabbled in it shortly. So what's interesting, I love Alessandro Carbelli here as Schicchi, who has that perfect sort of personification of this sort of schemer who's ultimately trying to do good. All right, here is a little bit of the scene. This is Tom Allen now as Johnny Schicchi, where he's dictating the will, and to the outrage of the relatives, he's giving all the good stuff to himself.
Grazie.
Alla gita I poteri di figli. Grazie, grazie. Abbetto I capi di capo.
Grazie, cognato.
Annella ed a Gerardo I peni tempoli. Grazie, grazie. Ed a Marco I beni a quintole. Lascio la casa di Firenze al mio caro devoto affezionato amico Gianni Schicchi!
Out of the vast estate with all these properties, the three things that everybody wanted were the mill, the mule, and the house in Florence. And Schicchi gives all three of those to himself. All right, here's the final scene now, where the relatives have all been kicked out of the house and Schicchi's now taken over, and the two young lovers are seen in the background.
Ditemi voi, signori, se i quattrini di Buoso potevan finir meglio di così. Per questa bizzarria m'han cacciato all'inferno. E così sia. Ma con licenza del gran padre Dante, se stasera vi siete divertiti, concedetemi voi l'attenuante.
And that's the theme of Johnny Schicchi himself there at the end. Ya-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ya-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. That is the Schicchi theme. All right, great fun with Puccini there. Going on to Maurice Ravel, we're getting back to France here with L'Heure Espagnole, the Spanish hour. Here's our quick synopsis. While the clockmaker Torquemada is away, his wife Concepcion plans to entertain her lovers. But the brawny mule driver Ramiro arrives needing his watch repaired. She hides her lovers, a poet and a banker, very different kind of guys, inside grandfather clocks, which she persuades the burly Ramiro to move upstairs or down for her with the lovers hidden inside. Eventually, she decides that the slightly dim but good-hearted and virile muleteer Ramiro is a better choice for a fling. Here's a little scene where she's hiding the banker in the clock. Here comes Ramiro.
Que faut-il que je fasse?
L'horloge. C'est bon. Merci. Mettez ça là.
Et maintenant, c'est celle-là que dans votre chambre l'on place.
Dans ma chambre.
Dans votre chambre. Vous n'avez qu'un mot à dire, et je l'enlève.
C'est un guet-apens.
Et c'est dit, signora. Oh, ivresse.
Enlevé. Mais c'est pas plus lourd.
Grain de sable.
À coup sûr, cet homme est doué.
Stop this till we get our phone answered here. It's always inaccessible when you're trying to get it, right? Yeah, okay.
Vous allez, j'espère, filer. Et sans demander la place. J'en ai assez de vos pépins.
So the poet is very romantic, but not very good when it comes to the actual romance. Here's the very end of the opera. la la, those French. So instead of her husband or the banker or the poet, she decides the muleteer is her choice for fun that day. Yeah, the French tend to be a little naughtier sometimes in their comic operas than other cultures. Here's a little more Ravel. This is L'Enfant et les Sortilèges. That is a child and the spells. It's called a fantaisie lyrique in 2 parts. And here's the quick synopsis. After being scolded by his mother for not doing his homework, an unruly child, this is a trouser role meant for a woman to sing, throws a tantrum, trashing his room and battering his stuffed animals, and the unhappy objects in his room come to life to punish him. The bedroom becomes a garden filled with singing animals, plants that have been tortured by the child. They turn on him and attack. In the fray, a squirrel is hurt, and the child bandages the squirrel's wound. Seeing his kindness, the animals help him get home. I'll show you a quick few little vignettes. Here is the teacup and the teapot having a little sort of a dance. All right, and here is the fire. Little coloratura showpiece there for the fire. I've never seen L'Enfant et les Sortilèges fully staged like this. It's really expensive to put on, as you can see. It really takes magical stage effects. It's done in concert. I saw it, maybe some of you did, a couple of years ago. The San Francisco Symphony did it in concert with various projections. And it works okay that way. Here is the wallpaper, which has been damaged by the boy as he's rampaging. And they're letting him know how unhappy they are with the pastoral scenes depicted on the wallpaper. Mournful bassoons there as they march off. All right. So we'll stay with French a little bit longer with Poulenc and his partnership with the surrealist and sort of absurdist poet Apollinaire. And that is Les Mamelles de Tiresias, the breasts of Tiresias, Le Bal Masqué, the masked ball. This is in this period, the 1940s, after the war, where nothing seemed to make sense, and this opera may not. Therese tires of her life as a submissive woman and becomes the male Tiresias when her breasts detach and float away. Her husband is not pleased by this, still less so when she ties him up and dresses him as a woman. After many bizarre twists and turns, Therese reappears as herself, the couple reconciles, and the whole cast gathers at the footlights to urge the audience to make babies. This is, of course, the aftermath of the devastation of the war. Here is a little bit of, this is the scene where Therese asserts herself and Tiresias asserts herself and decides to get rid of her breasts. So a little absurdity in the post-war world with Poulenc here. There were lots of course, pieces like this in French theater as well. A real virtuoso coloratura part for the role of Thérèse. All right, let's take our break now. It's almost 10, so I'll see you at 10 after, and 10 after 11, that is, and we'll have more getting into the American opera field. See you in 10 minutes. Here we go. Okay, yeah, we're going to look at some American opera now. If you include Giancarlo Menotti in that, he was born in Italy, of course, but came to America when he was just a teenager. Wrote lots of operas of various kinds, some really masterful ones like The Consul and The Medium. This is a one-singer show called The Telephone, and the plot basically is that this young man is about to leave on a business trip, and he wants to propose to his girlfriend before he goes, but she's constantly on the phone, and he has trouble getting a word in. Here we'll cut into just the middle of this very long aria as she's on the phone with her friend. No kidding. In this might be slightly dated now, but because he can't find a moment to ask her to propose to her, he leaves and he goes to a phone booth and calls her and proposes to her that way. So, happy ending. Here is a little bit of Albert Herring. I realize I'm using a lot of videos in this class with Alex Schrader, and here's another one. He was in the Spanish Hour as well, the poet, in the clock. So, Albert Herring is a comedy by Britain. This is 3 pieces from 1947 we're listening to here. So, in a small East Sussex village, the prudish autocrat Lady Billows has assembled a committee of town dignitaries to select a Queen of the May for their annual May Day feast. But none of the young women in town is found to be of suitable moral character. Instead, they choose the virginal, obedient, upstanding, and moral Albert Herring, the greengrocer's painfully shy son. Timid from years of living under his mother's thumb, young Albert is crowned the King of the May. Albert's friends, the young lovers Sid and Nancy, spike the lemonade at the party as a practical joke. Drunk for the first time, Albert shows a rebellious streak and disappears. He's taken for dead, only to reappear disheveled, filthy, and defiant to confound the mourners at his death watch. He has found his independence at last. Here's a quick trailer, various scenes from this show from LA Opera, with Alex Schrader as Albert.
Albert king. I love you, I love you.
I've come for a piece of the best English beef.
There's no need to worry. There's no need to worry. Have a nice peach.
Oh, may I read?
Those are sixpence each.
A surprise, 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 surprise,
Surprise.
And this great day arrives, I'm full of happiness to be here in your midst on such a day as this, as honored guest and patroness of the Roxford Urban District.
Thank you. Very much. None too soon. Taste of that lemonade. Wonder how it's made. Die, die, so Where have you been? Before very long I was pretty far gone, reading about, beginning to shout, disgustingly drunk, a nuisance to everyone.
Pocket Opera, there's a little company that's been around in San Francisco for a long time, did Albert Herring this past season. Did anybody see it? It's really a fun show. All right, let's go on to Leonard Bernstein, Trouble in Tahiti, from 1952. So the opera focuses on the domestic conflict of Sam and Dinah, a young couple who, far from the perfect picture of suburban life that was the ideal in the 1950s, are desperately unhappy. Sam is a successful businessman and Dinah is a frustrated housewife. She tries to forget her troubles by taking in a matinee of what turns out to be a terrible movie about the tropics, hence the opera's title. And this is her aria, which is essentially a movie review.
What? A movie? What a terrible movie! It's a crime what they put on the screen. I can hardly believe what I've seen. Do they think we're a lot of children? It would bore any 4-year-old. What? Drama? What nonsense? What escapist technicolor to waddle? Trouble in Tahiti, indeed. Trouble in Tahiti, imagine. There she is in her introduce wrong, floating, 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 all among the floating clouds. Then she sees him, the handsome American. I must say he's really a man, 6 feet tall and each foot just incredible. Well, they're madly in love, but there's trouble ahead. There's a legend. If a prince is very white man in the rainbow that day, then the white man shall be sacrificed without delay. Sure enough, on the night of the wedding day, there's a storm like nothing old. Tide stains, and to top it all off, the volcanoes erupt as the native sings. They go crazy with the strumming and the chanting and ritual dance, while the lovers sing a ballad of sincere romance. It's so lovely, I wish I could think of it. It was called Island Magic, I think it was. Oh, a beautiful song, I remember it now. Island Magic, where the midnight breezes caress us and the stars above seem to bless us. That's Island Magic. Island Magic. Well, in any case, the hero is tied to a tree. Did I tell you he's a flyer who got lost at sea? Anyway, all the natives are crazy now, running wild with lances and knives, and they pile up the wood for the sacrifice. And the witch doctor comes, and he sets it on fire as the native sings. Ole! But at this point comes the good old U.S. Navy singing a song. They come falling down in parachutes of bows and strong. Everything now is cleared up and wonderful. Everyone is happy as pie, and they all do a great rumble version of Island Magic, of course. It's a dazzling sight with the sleek brown native women dancing with the U.S. Navy boys and a 100-piece symphony orchestra. Island Magic, where the countries whisper together, and it's always better weather. That's Island Magic.
Island Magic.
Island Magic.
That's Island Magic.
With the warm and love very near. Island Magic. Whispering native words in my ear. Island Magic.
Island Magic.
Only you, my darling, could weave it, and I never ever will give it, and I simply cannot believe
It really is mine.
Island Magic.
Island Magic.
What a terrible, awful movie! How long have I been standing here chuttering? If I don't get going this minute, there won't be any dinner when Sam comes home!
BBC film, there's a backup trio in this opera that's meant to sort of sing off stage or in the pit or something like that. And in this version, they've incorporated them into the scene. Great fun. There's a movie about Bernstein coming out with Bradley. Is it? It is? You've seen it already? Bradley Cooper, right? Is all right. Not recommending it. Okay. All right. We'll give you a little bit of more Bernstein here with Candide, and I won't try to explain the whole plot about this. Candide and Cunegonde have all these trials and tribulations going around the world and meeting incredible difficulties. Here is the old lady who is traveling with them, and after many adventures with Candide and his beloved Cunegonde, she finds herself in Cadiz, Spain. She tells of her diverse backgrounds and how she easily adapts to her surroundings. So here's Patti LuPone, I Am So Easily Assimilated.
I was not born in sunny Hispania. My father came from Rovno, Gubernia. But now I'm here, I'm dancing a tango. Di-di-di, I am easily assimilated. I am so easily assimilated. I never learned a human language. My father spoke a high Middle Polish. In 1/2 hour I'm talking in Spanish. Por favor, Doriador, I am easily assimilated. I am so easily assimilated. It's easy, it's ever so easy. I'm Spanish, I'm suddenly Spanish. And you must be Spanish too, to like the natives do. These days you have to be in the majority.
Tus labios rubí, dos rosas que se abren a mí, conquistan mi corazón y solo con una canción.
Let's skip ahead here. We'll get to the end. There you go. Candide's another piece that can be done in concert as it is being done here. The San Francisco Symphony has done it that way. Going to skip Glitter and Be Gay and go to Jake Higgey and Terrence McNally's Great Scott from 2015, which premiered in Dallas. A rare comedy in the 21st century. I could talk on and on about this, but we are just in such serious times, and there is a lot to worry about going on these days, and so it's hard to find moments of humor. I was recently on a panel for Opera America, which is a service organization for opera companies. They had grants to give out to women composers. We had 50 applicants. Not a single one of them was an actual comedy. These proposals for new operas. There was one that one of the ones we picked, which we quite liked, which was about the first all-women spacewalk, and that had kind of a lighthearted quality, which we enjoyed. But there was no actual comedy. People aren't writing them much anymore. But this is one. So we have in this show, Great Scott, Tatiana is a young soprano from Eastern Europe, and she is the second lead in a new opera premiere. She's eager to make her American debut and to show up the leading lady. So Tatiana misses nothing, including a chance to sing the national anthem before the Super Bowl kickoff, before the opera performance begins across town. So she's going to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl and then dash back to the Opera House for this world premiere. And so she decides to have great fun with the national anthem.
Oh, say, oh, say, oh, say, 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 can you say yes? Say you can say. Bye, 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 so don't the little boys what, so what, so proudly we light was gleaming, whose broad stripes in bright stars, so the peerless fight, the peerless fight, the peerless fight, the peerless
Okay. This is a great piece that I would love to see again. The premise basically is that the woman who's running the opera theater that's presenting, it's not a premiere of a new opera, it's the modern premiere of an old bel canto opera that's been re-resurrected. The woman who runs the opera company is married to the guy who owns the team that's in the Super Bowl across town, so lots of fun there. Another bit of humor can be found in It's a Wonderful Life by Jake Higgey with his librettist Gene Shear. Of course, I'm sure you know the story. You probably watched that movie at Christmas time. It's not a comedy through and through. It begins with an attempted suicide and all that. But it has some funny moments. It's a piece that was co-commissioned of San Francisco Opera with various other places, premiered in Houston. And here we have the scene where George, our hero, his dreams of traveling the world, seeing Paris and all the other great places. And we'll see here the role of Clarence in the film, the guardian angel, is a woman here, Clara. And she's invisible. No one can see her. But she does discover when she takes her hat off, she stops the action. So here they are, joking with George about his idea of traveling to Paris. Why doesn't he just stay home in Bedford Falls?
In Bedford Falls, it's the city of lights. What is the Seine but a dirty little creek? Oh, sweet is the river magnifique. Goodbye, Bedford Falls. Your mystery and enchantment have set the bar so high. Goodbye, Bedford Falls. How will you ever leave us? I don't know, but I'll try. Without a desk to sit at, a stay from 9 to 5. Red and sea and heaven. In Beach Piazza, all you see is lots of beauties looking for a date. What can I do? Arcus your fate. Goodbye, Bedford Falls. Skyscrapers soaring, cool stories high. Goodbye, Bedford Falls.
Yeah, she takes her hat off and time stands still. Okay. The Revelation of Steve Jobs, which was part of the season here earlier this fall. I hope some of you saw that. One of my favorite bits in it, this is also San Francisco Opera Co-Commission, which premiered in Santa Fe. We were meant to do it in 2020, but that, of course, didn't happen then. Here's the scene where Steve Jobs and Wozniak figure out how to trick Ma Bell. Wozniak has figured out how to make international phone calls without paying.
Ma Bell was just taken down. Ma Bell was just screwed over. Ma Bell was just rotten. Money-sucking, monolithic, monopolistic, autocratic knees. Ma Bell was just brought to her knees. Ma Bell was just brought to her knees. That's one for the common people. That's one for Abby Hoffman. That's one for Cesar Chavez. That's one for the troublemakers, rebel freaking sinners who keep this planet spinning. For Dylan, for Bob Dylan, and Thomas, Bob and Thomas, rebels, freaks, reformers who keep this planet spinning.
As you may know, if you saw the opera, the piece deals with this whole idea of the transformation of Steve Jobs from this sort of revolutionary, anti-establishment figure here as he's young to become sort of the personification of the establishment with Apple. So that is Mason Bates' opera, and he's working on a new one now, which I think is based on that book by Michael Chabon called The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. So I'm not sure where he's doing that opera for. It's not here, but anyway, Mason Bates lives on the peninsula, very talented composer. So our journey, we've gone through comedy in these last 8 weeks. We've talked about comedy in the Broken Classic periods. I'm using Mozart and Figaro, and we talked about Rossini, the Bel Canto period with lots of Donizetti. We talked about French operas, Ooh La La. We talked about Gilbert and Sullivan, and 19th century drollery and wit in the 20th century are all wrapped up into today. I want to leave you with one little tidbit, which is kind of fun, which is another American piece by Lee Hoybe, who died in 2011. This is from his one-act opera, one-person opera, Bon Appetit from 1989. So, how to make a gâteau au chocolat, a race between the hand beater and the mixer, Catherine Cook as Julia Child. This is from Opera Parallel from here in San Francisco. Here we go.
Now we're ready to beat our egg whites. So be sure and order an extra set of blades. Otherwise, at this point, point. You'd have to wash and dry the beaters. Frankly, I find that you could beat the eggs just as efficiently with a hand beater as with anything. So today, I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have a race between the online copper ball and the machine. I've got 4 egg whites here and 4 egg whites here, and I'm going to see who wins. And I think maybe I'll win because I'm bigger.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey through of comic opera. I've had great fun putting it all together, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I hope to see you here again at the Fromm. Thanks for coming out.